I really dig this track, bro. And, oh, God, this is going to be fun. I'm nervous, though, which is weird. Oh, but I usually interview people.
Who is Haanz Ovlov?
My name is Dr. Ovlov Jamal.
And I would be Haanz. I'm Nate, play the drums. Jamal is on turntables, purveyor of all things sounding good. Yeah, that's us.
I think Haanz Ovlov is a interesting character. He has a variety of interests and tastes, and he's also a representation of perspectives aligning to create something new.
I think it's a representation of not only shared passions in music, but also just friendship. Two dudes coming together. Originally, we didn't really think it was going to go anywhere. It was just, hey, let's jam and just have fun playing music.
Definitely different backgrounds, but I think Nate and I come together really well, and I don't think this what we do could work with anyone else.
So I guess it's an excuse to play music, but also two guys being friends. Here I go.
What are you trying to convey with your project?
I don't know, that might be different for each of us. I think for myself, it's a different kind of expression in jazz, but try to see it through a different lens, I suppose.
I think that our music just represents innovation as well, and it's a very distinct sound too, because every different show that we play is music that surrounds a different mood or emotion, and just appreciating how creativity and originality of the past can be transformed now for our own original stuff. You know, there's just this, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but just Nate's musical abilities and our taste together, you know?
What is your process? How do you work together to create your sound?
I mean, without question, we draw from so many influences. I think primarily we draw from artists that mostly that Jamal discovers, and if he finds a certain sound that he really likes, then he just approaches me and we listen to it. We usually jam to it, we vibe to it, we dance a little. And then I'll sit down on the drums and try to play along, try to innovate, do my own thing, and then Jamal will do his own thing too.
Nate calls me. He's like, yo man, I'm at the coffee shop. Where are you? I'm like, dude, I'm still at the station. I can't stop finding these awesome tracks that I think we should use. So then an hour and a half later, I end up waking him up because he fell asleep in his chair. And we end up here, like Nate said, listening, like doing these different cycles. Nate we both listen, and I just stare at Nate's face, hoping for like an awesome reaction. But seriously, it is an addiction. Finding music that evokes that feeling, just this crazy feeling that you can't associate with anything else other than these sounds stirring you in a way that is very arousing. But yeah, that's our process. And then Nate just uses his crazy jazz training and his percussive, is that a word? Percussive training, and somehow just molds into the sound of the tracks that I look for. And then based on the way we're feeling, we come up with something. What the original plan was for our project to be original compositions, and we're still going to be doing that. It's just that we were presented with opportunities, and so right now we're learning as we go.
What are your future endeavors and aspirations?
This is a very on-the-fly project. I don't think either of us have really been down this road before. Well, I know neither of us have, so we're just winging it, or it has become about community for me. I feel like I've really gained a really solid and tolerant and inviting community.
The community has been outstanding, especially our close bonds, providing us with so many tools and opportunities and equipment, like to actually enable us to have this project a go and allow us to make it the level and the quality that we want it to be.
Which I'm very grateful for.
Especially the Party Quest crew. Future though, for the future, no doubt about it, it's for me original compositions.
And beyond that, beyond maintaining that and just continuing to create music and get better, play shows. I mean, that's kind of my aspiration.
And I also aspire to have people like as close to fully engaged as possible when they hear us. Personally, the music I think needs to be to a point where your attention is not diverted.
It's all about fun. Fun.
How did Haanz Ovlov come together?
We met at work, and I don't know, we had always talked about music, and it was clear that music was a huge part of both of our lives. I think that was obvious, especially you with your radio show and Freshly Squeezed, Late Night Laboratory. Yeah, two really ill shows you gotta check out. And then we talked about, I remember we chatted about like Apollo Brown and stuff like that. Just really, really interesting music that not a lot of other people, I don't know, that are overly familiar with. So I felt like it was cool. I got exposed to a lot of new stuff. And then I hope that I exposed Jamal to a little bit more jazz music, perhaps. And then we talked about it. We talked about, what could come of something like this, like a partnership like this, a duo of sorts. It never really got off the ground until, I don't know, maybe July of this year. I was approached to do a jazz show for Cyclepalooza. I was approached to do it as a jazz combo, but I couldn't get the players together. And so I said, Jamal, hey, let's just wing this thing. We have a gig in the park, super chill. And he found the perfect tracks, and I just played along, and it worked for what it was. It was like the very beginnings, but yeah, I feel like we've come a long way in a short time.
What is your musical background? What are your musical influences?
I played drums, I think I started playing when I was 13 in orchestral junior high band. Yeah, junior high band. And I didn't take it seriously at all. I didn't practice, I didn't listen to the teacher. I just got up there and hit the drum as hard as I could. And then I lost interest because I was never forced into it by my family, but I felt like it wasn't worth pursuing.
Musical background, yeah, I used to play instruments as a kid as well, forced by my parents, and that was the difference. Is I would always like time my practice sessions, be like, Mom, Dad, it's been 30 minutes, I'm done. I never really did it out of a personal desire to do it. But yeah, as I just got exposed to different music and starting to realize that there's a ridiculous infinite amount of possibilities and stuff, then I started just, I guess, just acquiring my own style of what I was attracted to.
I definitely utilize music as an outlet in university. Yeah, it was a huge part of those 4 years. Very informative, just as informative as the studies I was taking. And then jazz came along, and it was this brand new corridor, I suppose, of sorts, that I could go down, and hearing drummers like Max Roach and Art Blakey, listening to these classic records from 40s, 50s, bebop era. And then finally listening to Miles Davis, Kind of Blue, which I think for any jazz lover is the gateway drug. Yeah, Kind of Blue is revolutionary for anybody that has an ear for jazz, I suppose. And then I finished school and decided just to fully commit to becoming the best jazz percussionist I could be. And I hooked up with local Calgary musician John McCaslin, who is without a doubt the most amazing drummer I've ever met. And just watching him play and going to his shows and seeing live jazz in town, I think that is as constructive as sitting down to practice for 3 hours.
Influences, definitely Shigeto. Shigeto was kind of what both of us first agreed on, like what we both saw and agreed that we could do, or like what we wanted to do. And that's, he programs his own, he produces and creates his own sounds, and then plays them through a MIDI controller, and then he drums live over top of his own melodies. So like quantic, jazz influenced, there's just certain sounds that make me get boogieing. And so yeah, that's where it goes.
What is it about the arts that positively benefits community and makes them more inclusive?
I think once you get into one, you realize that they're all intertwined and that they all benefit each other. So I'm talking like movement, art, musical art, visual, and then I find that people called artists, literally people who are just like pursuing their creative hobbies or their endeavors or like just their creative interests, they just have very similar outlooks. And one of the outlooks is open-mindedness, especially when you're being creative and in such a subjective realm. Our community is so diverse too, and it's so cool just meeting all these new people and working and the potential to work with them too. It's just ideas get created and flow. I think that's what runs the creative community, is just ideas. Also, Party Quest Crew is the community that I'm most involved with and attached to. Party Quest Crew, CGSW, the local campus community radio station. I love it. And that was my first like crew, I guess.
And for myself, I mean, if I look at my trajectory over the last couple of years, I think it's a good exemplifier of it, because at one point I was just simply a hobbyist. I didn't have anybody to play with. I was just sitting in my basement practicing, and that's really no fun. I mean, music is something to be shared. And as soon as I met some people to play some jazz music with, shout out to Cole Mayert and Sydney Tuff, two people I've become quite close to, I think. Things just kind of exploded from there, I suppose. I started playing with these people, and then one thing led to another. I felt not only did it give me the confidence to approach Jamal and say, yeah, I think we can do this, it's opened up a whole bunch of other doors, like jazz gigs and upcoming gig at Wino's October 15th, benefiting CGSW. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's just, I think for someone who is an artist or thinks of himself as an artist, it's not an easy world to be in unless you know people. The PQC is a perfect example of that. Everybody's main focus is supporting one another and making sure that everybody gets better. I think that's basically the mandate of the PQC. Not only that, but also a shared love for music and dance and movement and everything else. I think that's what it boils down to.
Are there any shout-outs, big ups or special humans you want to recognize?
Cowtown, the Calgary. Yeah, Calgary, Alberta. Yeah, this city's great. It's really supported us, and there's some great venues around town. Cafe Koi. We look forward to the upcoming shows, and I hope you guys can make it out.
Look forward to just more expression, more opportunities, more growth. Also, definitely Calgary is where it's at. Like, I think the community is at a point where growing very rapidly, but it's also still small enough that we are able to have these opportunities. So yeah, I just can't thank the people around us enough for holding space and like giving us the confidence, the opportunity to be confident in our ability to swoon crowds and ourselves. That's where it starts.
Yeah, I would like to ditto that. Just very fortunate to everybody around us that has supported, because without them, I don't think either of us would have the confidence to do this.
You know, so thanks for holding space. Thanks for the faith. Thanks for just thank you.
Yeah.